Sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one nobody notices. History has rewarded these people again and again. They moved quietly. They revealed selectively. They allowed the world to build an incomplete picture. And then they delivered something the incomplete picture could never have prepared anyone for. One of them saved an entire city without firing a single arrow. And what he used was not strength. It was the complete and deliberate concealment of weakness. In 234 AD, the brilliant Chinese strategist Zhuge Liang found himself in an impossible position. His city was nearly undefended. A massive enemy army was approaching. His advisors were preparing to flee. Instead of retreating, Zhuge Liang did something that made no tactical sense to anyone watching. He opened the gates of the city. He sent away his soldiers. He climbed to the top of the city wall, sat in plain view of the approaching army, and began playing a musical instrument with complete calm. The enemy general, Sima Yi, saw this and stopped his entire army. He could not process what he was seeing. A man with almost no defense, sitting in plain sight, completely exposed, playing music. It had to be a trap. The army withdrew. The city was saved. Not by Zhuge Liang's strength, by the complete concealment of his weakness and the masterful performance of something the enemy could not read. Most people make the opposite mistake every single day. They show everything. They announce their capabilities the moment they walk into a room. They demonstrate their full intelligence in every conversation. They reveal every card in their hand before the game has even started. And in doing so, they hand every person in the room the exact information needed to limit them, counter them, and control them. This is Law 6, and it is the law that separates the people who are powerful from the people who merely appear powerful for a moment before someone finds their ceiling. There is a fundamental difference between being strong and showing strength. Being strong is a reality. Showing strength is a performance. And performance, as we have established in this series, always signals that something real is absent or something real is being protected. The person who demonstrates their full capability immediately in any situation has revealed their ceiling. And a known ceiling is a known limit. A known limit is a known weakness. And known weaknesses are the raw material of every manipulation, every underestimation, and every calculated move that has ever been used against a person in any negotiation, any competition, or any relationship. Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War that all warfare is based on deception. He did not mean this as a narrow military principle. He meant it as a description of how power actually operates in every human interaction. The strong appear weak when it benefits them. The capable appear ignorant when it is useful. Not because deception is virtuous, but because the person who reveals their full strength immediately has already surrendered one of the most powerful advantages available to any human being, the element of being underestimated. Julius Caesar understood this at a level most of his contemporaries never reached. Early in his career, before his military campaigns made him the most famous man in Rome, Caesar was captured by pirates. The pirates demanded 20 talents of gold as ransom. Caesar laughed. He told them they had no idea who they had captured and that they should demand 50. The pirates, confused, assumed this was the arrogance of a wealthy nobleman. They did not know they were looking at the man who would one day control the Roman world. Caesar spent his time in captivity joking with the pirates, writing poetry, and promising them personally that when he was released he would return and crucify every one of them. They laughed. They thought it was a joke. It was not. The moment his ransom was paid, Caesar raised a fleet, returned, and did exactly what he had promised. The pirates had made the most expensive mistake available to any opponent. They had underestimated him because he had allowed them to. In 1997, Steve Jobs returned to Apple. The company was 90 days from bankruptcy. The technology world had written him off. Most people saw a desperate man returning to a dying company with no real plan. What they did not see was a man who had spent 12 years being underestimated, building capabilities, refining his vision, and waiting for the moment when the gap between what the world believed he could do and what he was actually capable of would be most useful. Within 3 years of his return, Apple launched the iMac, the iPod, and began the greatest corporate comeback in business history. Jobs had never stopped being exceptional. He had simply allowed the world to forget it. And that forgetting was the most powerful strategic asset he possessed when he walked back through Apple's doors. Now imagine this. Two professionals enter the same industry at the same time with equal skill. The first immediately demonstrates everything he knows. In every meeting, he shows his full range. In every presentation, he deploys every capability. In every conversation, he makes sure the room knows exactly what he can do. Within 6 months, everyone knows his ceiling. His colleagues know how to work around him. His competitors know exactly where his limits are. His superiors know exactly what he is worth and not a dollar more. The second professional reveals his capabilities gradually and strategically. He solves the problem in front of him without showing the 3 other approaches he also knows. He answers the question asked without revealing the 5 deeper layers he has already considered. He lets people discover his capabilities 1 layer at a time. 18 months later, when someone thinks they have fully mapped his ability, he reveals another layer. He is always slightly more than anyone has accounted for. And that slight excess of capability beyond expectation is the most valuable professional position that exists. Because you cannot be fully countered, fully priced, or fully controlled by anyone who cannot see your ceiling. This is the wealth principle hidden inside this law. In business, the person who reveals their full value immediately in any negotiation has already set their own ceiling. Salary negotiations, consulting fees, business valuations. In every one of these contexts, the person who shows all their cards first always leaves money on the table. Always. The negotiator who reveals desperation loses. The consultant who lists every capability up front gets priced at the sum of those capabilities. But the professional who allows their value to be discovered gradually, who lets results speak before explanations, who holds capability in reserve until it is needed, that person is always valued above the number on the table. Because the room is always pricing what it can see. And what it cannot see, it fears. And what it fears, it respects. And what it respects, it pays for. So how do you apply this? 3 principles. Write these down. First, solve the current problem without revealing the next solution. In any professional context, your job is to address what is immediately in front of you, not to demonstrate every other thing you could also do. The surgeon who saves the patient does not spend the operation explaining all the other surgeries he is also qualified to perform. He performs this one with complete excellence. And the next time something needs to be done, he is the first person called. Depth is discovered over time. It is never established in a single display. Second, let people underestimate you strategically. This requires discipline because the ego hates being underestimated. Every instinct in you will want to correct the misconception, to show what you are actually capable of, to demonstrate that you are more than what they have assigned you. Resist it. The person who is consistently underestimated and consistently delivers beyond expectation holds the most sustainable power position in any environment. Expectation management is not deception. It is strategy. And strategy, applied consistently, compounds over time into a reputation that no single display of strength could ever build. Third, never reveal your full financial position. In any negotiation, any business relationship, any situation where money is involved, the person who knows your exact financial position has leverage over you that you gave them voluntarily. Your savings, your alternatives, your desperation or lack of it. These are strategic assets that belong to you. The moment you reveal them, they belong to the room. Keep your resources private. Let people price you based on your demonstrated value, not your disclosed position. The gap between what people think you have and what you actually have is one of the most powerful forms of leverage available. You do not need to prove your strength. You only need to keep enough of it hidden that people never know where your limits truly are. The most dangerous people in history were never the ones who looked dangerous. They were the ones nobody saw coming. Power revealed becomes ordinary. Power concealed becomes legendary. Let people underestimate you. The next law drops soon. Until then, stay dangerous.